Imagine a world where the balance of power in the skies shifts overnight, where old assumptions about dominance collapse, and where two nations, once underestimated, rise together to challenge the very core of Western military confidence. This is not a distant scenario or a work of fiction. It is happening right now through the Pakistan-China Jet Alliance, an alliance that has shaken the world's defense analysts to their core. The strategic military cooperation between Pakistan and China has evolved into one of the most significant defense partnerships in modern geopolitics, particularly in the realm of aerial warfare. What began decades ago as a relationship built on mutual necessity has now transformed into a dynamic alliance that is reshaping the air power equations of South Asia. The cornerstone of this cooperation lies in the collaborative development and deployment of advanced fighter aircraft, with the JF-17 Thunder standing out as a prime example. This aircraft, co-produced by Pakistan Aeronautical Complex and Chengdu Aircraft Corporation of China, represents far more than just a combat platform. It is a symbol of self-reliance, shared strategic vision, and technological synergy between the two nations. By pooling their resources, China and Pakistan have not only produced a fighter jet tailored to Pakistan's specific defense needs, but also created a model of military cooperation that challenges the traditional dominance of Western suppliers in the region. The more recent induction of the J-10C into the Pakistan Air Force has further deepened this collaboration, providing Pakistan with access to a fourth-plus-generation multi-role jet equipped with advanced radar, avionics, and missile systems that rival the best Western offerings. This move is not just about acquiring new hardware, but about signaling to the world that Pakistan's defense modernization will no longer be bound by Western conditions or geopolitical strings. The cooperation has also extended into training, joint exercises, and technology transfer, ensuring that the relationship is not transactional but strategic in its core. Unlike Western defense markets where technology sharing is often restricted, China has opened its doors to Pakistan, treating it as a trusted partner rather than just a buyer. This trust has allowed Pakistan to enhance its indigenous capabilities while simultaneously reducing its dependence on Western markets, which often come with political pressure or embargo risks. In the eyes of Western defense analysts, this growing synergy between Beijing and Islamabad represents not only a military collaboration, but a recalibration of regional security dynamics, as Pakistan now fields an air force increasingly powered by Chinese technology, strategy, and long-term commitment to partnership. This cooperation therefore stands as one of the most unsettling developments for Western observers who have long relied on maintaining their monopoly over advanced military technology in South Asia. The shift in air power balance brought about by the Pakistan-China Jet Alliance has become one of the most pivotal developments in South Asia's strategic landscape. For decades, Pakistan's air capabilities were seen by Western defense analysts as being constrained by dependence on outdated fleets and limited access to high-end technology. India, by contrast, was viewed as the region's dominant air power, bolstered by acquisitions from Western suppliers such as France, the United States, and Russia. The induction of Rafale jets into the Indian Air Force further reinforced this perception, giving India a psychological and technological edge in the eyes of many observers. However, the acquisition of China's J-10C fighters by Pakistan has significantly altered this equation, introducing a formidable counterbalance that has shaken long-held assumptions. The J-10C is not merely a replacement aircraft, it is a cutting-edge platform featuring advanced avionics, AESA radar, long-range precision strike capabilities, and compatibility with the PL-15 Beyond Visual Range air-to-air missile. These attributes give the Pakistan Air Force an ability to challenge, and in certain aspects surpass, the capabilities of India's Rafale fleet. What unsettles Western defense analysts is not only the technical proficiency of the J-10C, but the speed at which Pakistan integrated this aircraft into its arsenal. Traditionally, Pakistan's defense acquisitions were drawn-out processes tied to Western approval, bureaucracy, or restrictions. The Chinese partnership bypassed these hurdles, delivering advanced jets at a pace that caught the international defense community off guard. This rapid shift means that, practically overnight, the balance of air superiority in South Asia has become far less predictable. In potential conflict scenarios, Pakistan is no longer viewed as outclassed in the skies. Instead, it is now capable of mounting a credible challenge to India's air dominance. This transformation has profound implications for deterrence, war planning, and regional stability. India can no longer rely on a guaranteed technological edge, which forces recalculations in both strategy and investment. Beyond the military balance, the symbolism of this shift carries equal weight. By aligning its air power modernization with China, Pakistan has sent a clear message to the world that it has alternatives outside of Western influence. This not only undermines Western defense markets, but also erodes the strategic comfort they once held in assuming Pakistan's technological limitations. For analysts who long considered South Asia a relatively stable equation tilted in India's favor, the Pakistan-China jet alliance has injected a new sense of uncertainty and volatility into the region's military balance. This uncertainty is precisely what makes the alliance so consequential, as it has redefined the rules of the game and left Western defense experts reassessing their assumptions about power dynamics in South Asia. Technology transfer and independence form the backbone of the Pakistan-China jet alliance and stand as one of the most significant factors unsettling Western defense analysts. Historically, Pakistan's defense modernization has been heavily reliant on Western suppliers, such as the United States and European powers, but these relationships have often been constrained by political strings, embargoes, or strict limitations on access to sensitive technology. Whenever regional tensions rose or geopolitical considerations shifted, Pakistan frequently found its defense supplies interrupted, leaving its long-term security vulnerable to external pressures. This pattern created a strategic dependency that limited Pakistan's ability to modernize its air force on its own terms. The collaboration with China fundamentally altered this equation, as Beijing has not only supplied advanced fighter jets like the JF-17 and J-10C, but also allowed Pakistan meaningful access to the underlying technology. The JF-17 Thunder project in particular illustrates this shift, as it was developed through a joint venture where Pakistan played an active role in design, production, and upgrades. This direct participation enabled Pakistan to cultivate indigenous expertise, establish manufacturing capacity, and position itself as a defense producer rather than just a perpetual buyer. The significance of this technological access is immense because it reduces Pakistan's vulnerability to foreign restrictions. In contrast to Western nations, which carefully control the transfer of radar systems, avionics, and missile technologies, China has treated Pakistan as a trusted partner, sharing systems such as AESA radar, electronic warfare suites, and long-range missile capabilities. This cooperation not only boosts Pakistan's air force in the present, but also lays the groundwork for long-term self-reliance, allowing local engineers, pilots, and strategists to adapt and enhance the technology according to evolving threats. For Western defense analysts, this development is deeply concerning because it represents a permanent shift in the balance of defense dependency. A Pakistan that can produce and upgrade its own modern fighters with Chinese cooperation is no longer constrained by Western leverage, making it a more independent and unpredictable player in the regional power structure. This independence also extends into export potential. The JF-17, for instance, has already been marketed to other countries, creating a new dynamic where Pakistan, once merely an arms recipient, is now competing in the global defense market. Such a transformation undermines Western influence not only in South Asia, but also in parts of Africa, the Middle East, and beyond, where nations may turn to the Pakistan-China model as an alternative to costly Western equipment. This empowerment through technology transfer is what has made the alliance so disruptive, because it marks the beginning of Pakistan's transition from a dependent buyer to a co-producer of advanced air power systems. For Western analysts who built their assumptions around Pakistan's reliance on them for military advancement, this growing independence is nothing short of a paradigm shift. The psychological and strategic pressure on the West, created by Pakistan's rapid modernization with Chinese jets, is a phenomenon that has unsettled military circles across Europe and the United States. For years, Western defense analysts perceived Pakistan's air force as limited in scope, held back by political restrictions, outdated fleets, and dependence on American F-16s that were often subject to embargoes or operational restrictions. This perception gave analysts and policymakers a sense of comfort, believing that India, with its access to Western and Russian technology, would always maintain the upper hand in South Asia's skies. The arrival of Chinese fighter technology into Pakistan's arsenal, however, shattered this narrative almost overnight. The induction of JF-17 upgrades, armed with advanced radar and missile systems, followed by the acquisition of the J-10C, introduced capabilities that rival and, in some aspects, exceed those of Western-supplied jets in the region. Suddenly, the equation shifted from Pakistan being an air power dependent on Western goodwill to a country rapidly achieving modernization on its own terms with Chinese backing. This development has imposed a unique psychological strain on Western defense planners. For decades, they assumed that technological superiority would remain a monopoly of NATO countries and their allies, giving them leverage in negotiations, sales, and strategic influence. Yet, China's willingness to share advanced systems with Pakistan has broken that assumption, creating a sense of unease about the future of military influence in Asia. The West is now forced to contend with the idea that its influence can be bypassed and that countries like Pakistan no longer need to seek their approval for modernization. This erosion of control is what creates a profound psychological pressure as it undermines the very foundation of Western defense dominance. Strategically, the implications are equally serious. With a more capable Pakistan Air Force fielding jets like the J-10C, supported by long-range PL-15 missiles and modern electronic warfare systems, Western analysts must now recalculate the balance of deterrence in South Asia. India, often seen as the regional counterweight to China, can no longer be assumed to have automatic superiority over Pakistan. This uncertainty complicates Western efforts to build India as a strategic partner against China, since New Delhi must now divide its focus between countering Beijing and maintaining parity with Islamabad. The dual-front pressure weakens the effectiveness of Western strategies, forcing a reconsideration of military aid, arms sales, and geopolitical commitments in the region. What alarms analysts most is not just the material presence of Chinese jets in Pakistan, but the speed, confidence, and permanence with which this modernization has occurred, signaling that the West's hold over South Asia's military balance has been fundamentally weakened. The idea of a new military bloc in the making through the Pakistan-China jet alliance is one of the most significant aspects that has unsettled Western defense analysts, because it points to a long-term structural shift in global security architecture. Traditionally, South Asia has been viewed by the West as a region where influence could be balanced through arms sales, economic aid, and diplomatic leverage, with India positioned as a natural counterweight to both Pakistan and China. However, the deepening cooperation between Islamabad and Beijing in the defense sector, particularly in the field of advanced fighter aircraft, signals that the relationship has gone beyond transactional arms deals and has entered the realm of strategic alignment. The co-development of platforms like the JF-17 and the transfer of advanced systems, such as the J-10C, are not isolated events. They are part of a broader pattern of long-term defense integration that goes hand in hand with China's Belt and Road Initiative and Pakistan's strategic reliance on Chinese investment. In this sense, the Jet Alliance is both a military and geopolitical statement, reinforcing the perception that Pakistan and China are not just allies of convenience, but partners in reshaping the balance of power in Asia. For Western defense analysts, this trend raises alarms because it resembles the early stages of bloc formation similar to Cold War alignments. A Pakistan firmly anchored in Chinese technology, training, and military doctrine represents more than just a challenge for India. It creates a permanent outpost of Chinese influence in South Asia that weakens the reach of NATO and its allies. If this cooperation expands into joint air defense networks, integrated command structures, or even coordinated strategic planning, the Pakistan-China partnership could evolve into a miniature bloc with the capacity to resist Western pressure and redefine security calculations in the wider Indo-Pacific. This possibility becomes more concerning when considered alongside China's partnerships with other nations like Iran and Russia, suggesting that the Jet Alliance is part of a larger fabric of counter-Western cooperation. The Western concern is not simply about jets or technology, it is about the precedent this sets for future alliances. By demonstrating that Pakistan can achieve modernization, autonomy, and deterrence without Western involvement, the partnership may inspire other countries in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East to seek similar arrangements with Beijing. This potential ripple effect could undermine decades of Western dominance in arms markets and geopolitical influence. Analysts therefore view the Pakistan-China Jet Alliance as the seed of something larger, a military bloc that, while still in its formative stages, carries the potential to realign global power structures and weaken the West's ability to dictate the terms of regional security in Asia. The Pakistan-China Jet Alliance is not just about fighter aircraft, nor is it limited to short-term military cooperation. It represents a profound recalibration of power, strategy, and influence. Together, Pakistan and China have redefined the boundaries of defense collaboration, moving beyond buyer-seller dynamics into a partnership rooted in trust, technology transfer, and shared strategic vision. This has altered the balance of air power in South Asia, dismantled long-standing Western assumptions, and exposed the fragility of reliance